Now that I've got all my mounts in there, welded in place and redone, I'm going to go ahead and put the metal in the bottom of the dash where it's all rusted out and gone, and where I had to remove the face of this a little bit. So now I've got this face set, and these gauges where they aim up towards your face, and that's working out real nice. But this dash is just really pitted and eat out, so I'm going to put a new piece in all the way to here and a new piece to there, and then we'll set it back in there and see how it fits, and then we'll start fabricating these lower mounts here, and then this thing will still be removable. Now I've got your dash, put all the metal work back in here. I've raised this as high as I can get it so I can build that plenum underneath there. So I've set the radio in there to level, and then brought all this inner structure down to that, and fabricated all this metal back. After I split it here and split it here, I turned this back where it's level, where I could turn these towards your face. So it's coming out real good. It was just extremely rusty there, but I've got that in good shape, and I've added you some tabs on here so I can bring that out. And then on the ends, I'll end up cutting it here and moving this landing in a little bit, and this thing will still be removable. But the ashtray here, the way I change this is going to modify this. This is going to need to be modified, so I'm going to have to cut these arms, reset this, and get that in the center, and then weld that back in place. And then we'll put this back in there and see how it's looking. It's been a good day on the dash. I was able to get all the metal work done under the bottom. You know, I moved this landing back. I fit the ashtray door. I fit the glove box door. I fit this grill here. I've got it all the spacers in place where they're all welded in place to the dash. So when it goes in, it just locks right in. It's still removable. I've added my extensions at the bottom mounts and got those out 1 inch on each side, which got it perfect in line with your face here. Clears the steering column, so the steering column does a full tilt. I've got it where it's as close as it can get to it in the full tilt. I think you're going to be riding it just a little bit lower than that, I hope, and then that's going to be right there where you can see real good. So far so good on all that. I mean, it's really coming out nice. But now I'm down to this. So I turned this landing on the radio all the way up until it touches the bottom of the radio. The back of the radio is actually going to rest on it on a foam pad. And the face of the radio is at a 90. So I got that up as high and as far as it'll go for this plenum, because I was just going to make a new plenum. But now that I've got this in place and start studying it, this hole in the air conditioner is 8.5 inches wide. The width of this is just over 8.5 inches wide, just the center part of this body. So it's looking like I might can slice all this off and slip this down in there a little bit. And if that's the case, then the air will work just exactly like it did on the Explorer. So I'm not sure if this is going to work yet, but I'm fixing to start whittling on this piece. And if I can get that on there, that's going to save us a huge amount of work, because this will come right into your face air. This will go right into your defrost. It's going to work exactly like it did on the Explorer. It has bleed air for your air conditioner, and I mean, this is just a great piece if I can pull this off. Now look how this is looking. I've got your AC box all set up in here now, and the plenum I had to build because it wasn't going to fit for all the radio stuff. I started whittling it down, and in behind here, so far, so good, because I've whittled it down and it is an exact perfect fit. I've got to do a little door clearance here, but this will be your face air. It'll work just like it did on the Explorer, and your defrost will be on the other side. I've got to try to mount, have to take the vacuum pod off of it, and I'll just build a new mount for it for the defrost air. And so far so good, but look, it's a perfect fit. I'm going to try to take and whittle it down just a little bit more so that I can get just enough clearance in there to put a piece of foam. Finally working out, and it has been splitting hairs. This is the piece that I started with, and I have cut everything off of it all the way down just to the doors that I need. I'll have to add the vacuum pod back on this side, so I'll mount it to there for the defrost, but it's looking like it's going to work. So with me whittling everything off of here and getting this down in there as low as possible, so that everything still works, it made it where this needs to be about just over 3.5 inches, right at 3.5 inches. And it was coming in at about 2 3/4, no matter how far I got it. I thought I was going to start, I don't know, it wasn't looking good there for a little bit. But, and your dash, I've already whittled it up as far as it'll go and raised it as far as it goes. So I was at my limits on all of those. So then I started working on turning the box. And I added some shims in there, and I got about 10 millimeters at the top turned out, and it fits flawlessly. So now all I gotta do is come up with a way to secure this, and I'm gonna go ahead and lock it in and get all this working. And I've fabricated spacers that'll stay on this box all the time, so it goes right in place every time. You'll be able to take this in and out probably a lot easier, well, I'm sure a lot easier than you could on the Explorer, because it'll come right out now. The dash I've left where it'll come in and out, and let me show you how it's looking. This top cover, it was pretty rough, and I've got it looking pretty good now. And then you can see how your gauges look, and you can see the angle I've turned these in relationship to the radio. So yeah, that's going to be a really, really nice look. And I got your ashtray in there straightened up, and the glove box door straightened up. And so I'm finally fixing to put all this in here and see how it looks for the first time. Alright, Bruce, I finally got all this part finished up, and I just want to give you one last look at what all I did here. So all this is still original Ford Explorer parts. So you get any of these parts pretty much at any time, readily available. I've got all these doors working exactly like they did. I've just really tightened it up. Same size volume. I was able to reattach this vacuum pod right here just exactly the way it was before. Even with the exact same screws, I just made a little bracket, and you know, because I had to cut all the side of this off, so now this is all down in here a little bit, but it'll work exactly the same. I mean, that's just awesome. Defrost here, fresh air right here, have our box over the front of it, our heat blowing out here. I think this is going to work. Here's a quick look at it all together. Now I'm fixing to take it all back down, so I've got to cut these ends off and move them, and I don't want to do all that grinding around them. And I'll put those right back in here and extend that a little bit. And other than that, it's working out great. And then once I get these ends done, I've still got to fit the trim, and I'm going to use the car trim because it's a little bit wider. So as soon as the windshield rubber gets here, I'll be able to put it up there, put the trim up there, and finish that up. And then I'll start on fitting this. And I'm just amazed at how well that is fitting, because where I've got these located now and the way they open, they're going to go just right into here. And I'll just build a little tray in here to house all that air right out here, and probably use a side one as well for your face air. And that'll work like a 08 Ford Explorer. It'll blow and cool great. And then put some kind of a trim down through here. Before I cut these ends off, I was looking at how the top of this follows the trim. So that tells me that I need to make the trim fit first, then cut this off, then fit this back to the trim, then fit the bottom to the bottom of the door here. So the trim that come on the Woodie is it's pretty narrow compared to the trim on the shoebox that you got out back, your car. This is quite a bit wider. And with me moving this dash, it's almost like it's a perfect fit. The frame is a little different than the car, because the front of the window has a little arch to it right there. But other than that, it's gonna be pretty close. So I'm gonna probably use the car one. The car one is wider, so I have to cut it off a little bit. But it looks to be like a little bit of finessing, and the car one is gonna bolt right in there, just perfect. I laid this out and I have cut the end off your dash. Now when I put your trim in, I'll take this part and match it to the trim however it comes out, and then I'll take the bottom part of it and move it forward where it follows the dash again, then just fill in that gap right there, and that'll be a perfect fit. There's still lots to do on this dash and stuff, and I'm still waiting on the rubber for do the trim. But while I was working, I went to move to work on the shifter, and I was going to relocate the shifter a little bit, but the work involved in relocating that shifter is just not going to be beneficial, because the benefits we get from the shifter in this location. This shifter in this location bolts right to the original mounts. It has all the original electronics from the Explorer. It'll get us a long ways and work like a champ if I can leave it right here. Well, to leave it here, the console bolts right to the floor right here. So I'll set all the console in here, and it's very comfortable. Looks pretty good. I just got to come up with a way to get this blended back into the old. This will be the transition from the new to the old, and these little spots really have to be thawed out so it looks right. So it's got this piece that goes here, and it stops right here. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop and think about this a little bit because the chrome guy's coming. I got to finish up your front clip to get the front bumper mounted so that I can send the front bumper out with the rest of the chrome. I think I got all the other chrome going, but
And I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna do. I may make a whole new top plate, may mimic something from the outside of the car in wood, or I just don't know yet. But so I've been thinking about this a little bit. I'm gonna go to the salvage yard. I gotta grab you some miscellaneous pieces and parts. So I'm gonna see what they have at the salvage yard as far as maybe some chrome trimmed out cup holder or something like that, and look at some tops of some consoles. Maybe even cut something out of a car, out of a newer car for the top of this. I don't know yet, but while I'm thinking about that, I'm gonna move on to this front end, get this bumper mounted, and get all that done.